If you're not really focused on how you're growing as an emotionally intelligent leader, your EQ, then you're probably not growing that much. Now, I work with a lot of fast growth companies. I work with a lot of CEOs and executive leaders, and I see this quite often. They focus on the work, they focus on the work, and they focus on the work, and they think that's it. It's not it. You've got to focus on yourself and how you're growing as a leader.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we're going to talk about self-leadership. CEOs may think they understand leadership, but they don't really understand what it takes to drive your business forward. Now, this is a solo episode of the podcast today because I really wanted to share with you something that's been on my heart. I see a lot of leaders out there so focused on everyone else that they rarely pay attention to how they're not evolving. And I say this with a smile, but it happens. So let me ask you a question. You have evolved as a leader over the last 10 years. I know for a fact. I know that you could look back and say, yes, I understand this better. I understand that better. I have a better maturity on this. I don't get as upset, or I'm more patient in this area. And that's great. But then you take it a little step further and you say, did you change that much over the last year? If you can't really describe how you're changing over the last year, that means you're not very intentional about what you're working on and how you're growing. And so in this episode is meant to be short, meant to be impactful, but to help you as a CEO of this company, whatever company you're is, be a self-leader. Be someone who truly is evolving and adapting and growing. So let's go over a few different areas. One of them is going to be really hard for you to take, and it's the first one, emotional intelligence. If you're not really focused on how you're growing as an emotionally intelligent leader, your EQ, then you're probably not growing that much. Now, I work with a lot of fast growth companies. I work with a lot of CEOs and executive leaders, and I see this quite often. They focus on the work, they focus on the work, and they focus on the work, and they think that's it. It's not it. You've got to focus on yourself and how you're growing as a leader. I'll give you a simple story. I had a client of mine. I won't share the name because it's not the best reflection of this client, but he was a little bit of a hothead and he lost his temper, and an employee ended up quitting because of this. And I say this to you because it happens. Sometimes we lose our temper, but do you have to? Is it something you can control? I claim that you can. I claim that you can have that emotional intelligence, that you can stay calm in the face of pressure. You can stay calm in the face of fear. You can stay calm in the face of uncertainty, because that's what leadership is. I know that you may think being authentic and saying what you really feel is being vulnerable. And in a way it is, but it's not the right kind of vulnerable. And so what I'm asking you to do is to be able to look at your own emotional intelligence, your EQ, and see where you need to grow. I don't know you individually, so this is not meant to be a coaching session. If it was, we'd dive deep into it. But this is about you understanding that this is the first area which you want to look at for self-leadership, mastering that emotional intelligence. The second one is time and energy management. I put those together because it's not just about time. A lot of people think about, how do I get more done in the day? Well, you should be thinking about, how do you manage your energy throughout the day? And when do you do your best thinking? When do you do your best leading? When do you do those things? And then how do you fill in the other times? Because when you prioritize the right thing in the right space, and you will feel that sense of calmness, you will be able to be a better leader. But what happens to many people feel like they're a firefighter, that they've got to just put the fires out. They've got to just show up for everyone else. And, that is servant leadership in a way. But if you're evolving into a better, stronger leader, you've got to learn to use your time and use your energy to the best way possible. Now, I've got some free resources around this. If you're looking for those, then you can actually just email me, gene@genehammett.com, and say time and energy management, or anything else that goes with this. But I don't want to slow us down by giving you the landing page and whatnot. So just, if you're really interested, email me, Gene@genehammett. I'll give you a free document about your time and energy management, and it will help you a ton. The next area is continuous learning and growth. If you're not learning how to communicate better, then you're not growing as a leader. If you're not learning how to be more present, if you're not learning how to hold people accountable, empower people, if you're not learning how to create alignment across your executive team or across other areas of the company that are out of alignment, then you've got to really look at yourself. Now, there's certain skills inside of leadership that you may take for granted, and I'm urging you not to do that. I'm urging you to look at things for yourself. Go through a 360 review. Have someone on your HR team actually give you feedback from others that is unbiased, or it's not tainted by what you want to hear, the yes man, the yes woman type things. Go into this going, I want to find my blind spots. One of my favorite stories of a client who was willing to do this asked me and my team to do a 360-degree feedback. And when we did that, two things came out of it. One was he shows up late to most meetings, 5 minutes or 8 minutes late, and he's just running from meeting to meeting, and he thought that was okay. But you and I both know it sends a bad signal. It sends a signal that your time is more valuable than others, and that's not real strong leadership. The other blind spot that came out of this was when you're in the room, sometimes you're not really here. And I remember them saying, when he's here, he's sometimes somewhere else. And so whatever your interpretation of that is you want to make sure that you're working on your presence, because that's really what that was. It was a lack of presence. Yes, you have a lot of ideas floating around your head. You have a lot of undone things, open loops. I get it. I'm a CEO of this company too, and I get it. But you want to make sure that you're continuously learning. So you identify those skill gaps inside your own leadership and get better at it over the next month or 2 months. And if you're not sure, then we should talk. We should talk about what's going on, how do you evolve as a leader, because it's one of the big roadblocks that we cover here at Corelevation. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach, been doing this for over 12 years. I've dedicated my life to working with fast growth companies to help them create predictable growth. And really our focus is create leadership at all levels. So CEO leadership, which is what we mostly talking about today, is very important. But we also do the C-suite alignment and the executive leadership there. And we also do manager to leader development too. When managers evolve, then you can focus on being the CEO because you can trust them more, you can empower them and hold them accountable. All that being said, this is Growth Think Tank. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. And we love having you here. Next time, thanks for listening in. I'll see you soon.